Hey, what's up guys, it's Levin here. Welcome to a more unusual video. It's almost Christmas time, or by the time this goes up, it shall be Christmas Eve. We're going to be talking some Fire Emblem today to make up for the series, the Fire Emblem Awakening series still being on a little bit of a hiatus. This is a bit of a podcast style video, so feel free to tab out and watch whatever you want. Doing a wishlist thing inspired by some Yakuza YouTubers, Gokudoni and Devil Leon 7, their Yakuza Wishlist, which could be just about anything in regards to the franchise, but this isn't Yakuza, this is for Fire Emblem. I am not alone, however. I am joined by Twitter user, a great graphic design artist who also designed my icon you're seeing now, my friend CoffeeEmblem, Mr. Coffee. How's it going?
Hello. Everything's going good. Thank you for introducing me. And yeah, I am a graphic designer, but not anymore because, real life, that kind of sucks in a way. But
yeah,
I'm glad to be here.
You're around on the Twitter side as well. I mean, you retweet some good memes and post art stuff sometimes.
Yeah, terminally online. Can't really help that.
Yep. Coffee is the number one PAL enjoyer, contrary to the PAL Emblem Twitter or YouTube account. It's okay.
I mean, PAL Emblem is still basic.
Yeah. I thought that was you. I always thought that was your video thing, because, Coffee Emblem here on Twitter, and then PAL Emblem over there. I thought that was you. That, and because you also do upload, at least on Twitter, as far as I'm aware, PAL only runs against, legendary heroes, mythic heroes, and I guess the bound hero and grand hero battles? I'm not sure. I've seen some.
Yep. That is right. I mean, had I joined the Fire Emblem fandom way earlier, that would have been my username.
Oh yeah, if only. It's okay. But yeah, Coffee is a Fae, mainly involved with Fae, although you do play some of the other games. But yeah, we're here to talk about mainly the franchise. Fae will be involved, so if you don't like that game, I don't blame you. We will talk about that. I've got one thing. So here's how it's gonna go. So let's discuss the setup. Coffee and I are gonna basically go back and forth with each other on 5 things we have on our wish list. So this is basically if we could have the guys from Intelligent Systems in our house and say, hey, we want to hear what you want to make, or for us to make for a Fire Emblem game, or bring something back, or do whatever. Here's a paper. Write 5 things down, and we'll do it. You have that power, and yeah, we can make it possible. The only thing is, we're sticking to Fire Emblem, so sadly, I could have put this on my list. I would have got Intelligent System to sit down and say, hey, why don't you make Paper Mario like it used to be? So we're not going to talk about anything else that they've made. But anyway, so yeah, we're going to go with just sticking to mainline Fire Emblem, as well as Fire Emblem Heroes and any potential other spin-offs that have happened or may happen one day. So, Coffee, I believe you shall go first. Oh, one more thing. I will put a link to the Yakuza holiday wish list, which is, the inspiration for this video. So feel free to check that out if you like that franchise as well. So, alright. Without further ado, Coffee, start us off with your first item on the list.
Absolutely. And my first wish on the wish list, I think this will resonate with many people, is that proper remake or localization of JP exclusive games. I mean, so far we've only played March 2nd Adventure, New Mystery of the Emblem, Binding Blade, Genealogy, the whole Thracia, Genealogy plus Thracia series through fan translations. It would be so cool to not just play it officially, but in a more upgraded manner, something that reflects the current gaming quality of life stuff implemented in it.
Yes, actually that was actually on my list too, although I have more of a specific thing, so I'll get to that when it's my turn. But I agree. I think everybody kind of does, and some were like, why isn't there an announcement for a Fire Emblem thing for either the Game Awards, which is a sham by the way, and the Direct back in October. We're kind of at the console's end. So, I mean, look what we got for this generation. We had...
I mean, as much as I appreciate Heroes and Engage for hey, here's some old school stuff that you might enjoy. it would be great to have a reference point for English-speaking, fan base.
The Switch got a lot of
enjoy
Fire
the
Emblem
original
love, so I don't think it's
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's why I feel like we squeeze in one more. Yes, but just consider what we had. We had 2 Warriors games, 3 Houses, Engage, and that limited run of an official translated version of Fire Emblem 1, the original, not the DS one.
I mean, we also have TMS if you want to count that. So,
oh yeah, that technically counts, which that's not on my list. Spoiler alert. If I wanted a true Fire Emblem crossover with Mega 10, but they didn't do that at all.
We'll get there then.
Yeah, they crossed it over with Persona 4 Dancing All Night. But yeah, anyway, I agree. I definitely want them
let's be honest, it was the fun.
Now, do you have anything else you want to add for your first point?
Honestly, that's it. It's kind of like a very short wish, but something that I really hope happens.
I will say, I will get into one specific game, so I'll just mention another one for the sake of this one. If they remake anything, I know everybody thinks Roy's game will be the one, because he's super popular, but the one that makes the most sense is definitely the usual games, Holy War and Thracia. I've played a bit of Holy War and I love it, and I'm thinking you probably want a stronger console for that kind of game, considering how huge the maps are. But
absolutely. I mean, each map is technically like 3 regular chapters combined.
Pretty much, yeah.
The story itself, it's so expansive, so immersive on it, amongst every Fire Emblem game that I've played. So yeah, definitely we need a stronger console for it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they would do Thracia. I know some thought, why don't you just bundle it in? I don't think that's kind of fair, considering the mechanics are a little different than Holy War.
It's honestly not just the mechanics. From what I understand, it's also the story, because sometimes, players choose certain pairings or whatever in genealogy, and it's not necessarily reflected in Thracia 776.
Yeah, these are predetermined
so
pairings.
It's best to keep it as a...
Like, I think Finn is with, he's with Lachesis in this game. Because he has a whole emotional scene with Nana, I believe. And then with what Faye did recently this year with Ced, they used his Thracia variant, which has Lewin canonically as his dad, which is one of those pairs that most people kind of agree is like the one they would go with, because it kind of feels the most right. Now, a lot of people today will complain about shipping, because, well, shipping's been now a big deal in the whole franchise as of late, thanks to Awakening. But back then, you were mainly going with what was the best competitive, like objectively or whatever. But of course, we have people who do it because I like this person with this person. So that's one of the other things. Unlike, what?
I was about to say thank you, Awakening, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I played Awakening as my second game, so I'm kind of guilty in that regard. But anyway, we shall move on to the my first point. So mine is a bit different compared to a straight-up remake, although I do have a remake one later down the road. Mine is return to an old region, but many centuries have passed since then, since like the events of that story. So kind of like how Awakening takes place 2,000 years after Fire Emblems 1 and 3, well 2 because of, Valm. So mainly something I want to see is either we go back to a region like Magvel, because it's never going to see the light of day, and it probably won't. That's a shot in the dark. But the one that I could see them going back to maybe one day is maybe Tellius, but it feels like that region's like story's kind of locked and shut. The only one I feel like has the most potential would be, like, ironically enough, Fodlan, but I think we know why nobody wants to go back there, given how everybody won't shut up about Three Houses. Lore-wise, it's some of the best in the franchise. Like, you can make a novel out of just like all of its like subtext and lore alone. It's definitely one of the most lore-rich games. Yet nobody talks about it because they want to talk about, I like Edelgard. Like, you're a bad person for liking Edelgard. I like Dimitri. But yeah,
let's not open that can of worms, but
yeah, I really think that those games have the best lore, but those are some of the regions I would like to. The selfish one in me, I want to say Alib because it's Alib, it's the GOAT. But honestly, you don't even need to go necessarily forward. You can go back. I mean, some games could definitely have like a true prequel, kind of like, say, ironically enough, Alib could have a great prequel and actually like the Scouring itself. You know, the 8 heroes who fought the dragons and the Great War, with, known as the Scouring. I think it could be fun to see how everything transpires. The what?
Yeah, we can finally see young Athos as well, so yay.
Young Athos. We could also see how Bramimond... I, personally, from how I understand, given the lore from Fire Emblem 6 and 7, it seems like Bramimond made the choice to use... It seems creating Apocalypse literally took out their whole will and being, because that's how dark magic works in that world, at least. If you use dark magic too much and use too much power, it consumes your entire being, and you're just an empty husk at that point. You're still alive. Just ask my boy Canis. He didn't, but I mean, he didn't die from the dark magic, but his brothers did. And then, considering how strong the Apocalypse Tome is, I'm pretty sure using that tome literally took out his entire soul, and now they them, because the person within has literally died. But there's
literally no soul left.
And I kind of want to see that, especially if it's something like, say, a character sacrifice. Just like, are you sure you want to do this, Bramimond? You will definitely lose yourself if you do it. And it's like, I know. But if it's what it takes to save humanity from the dragons, then I'll do what I have to do. Like a noble sacrifice kind of thing, where it's not necessarily death, but losing your soul, essentially, more or less, is basically death in a way. And then Bramimond lived on for how many thousands of years, just until, Roy's game happened. So it'd be a nice little, like, you understand the significance of that sacrifice.
That is true. I had completely forgotten that he shows up in Roy's game. I mean, I don't really remember, but vaguely enough.
Yeah, I think it would be very interesting to have something like that either be in the future or some cases the past, but alright, man, we shall go with your second reason. Or second wish.
Yeah, before I go into my second reason, I kind of want to add to your point about Fordland. I really, really hope that we do get like some sort of proper sequel, because there are just so many unanswered questions from the game, man. I mean,
honestly,
like, first of all, who the fuck are like those who slither in dark, and what's the entire purpose? Why do they exist?
Three Hopes did not help with that.
I only played... Oh, not at all. If anything, it added more of unanswered questions to the list.
I think it is a cool what-if story for what it's worth. I just, I feel like they could have done something...
I mean, if anything, it gave us Shez, so there's that.
Oh yeah, they gave us a Smosh guy playing Shez, at least the male version. Yeah, you didn't know that?
Yep.
The guy from Smosh is the voice actor for male Shez in English.
Hold up. Who from Smosh?
Damien Haas, that's him. The one that keeps getting griefed by the Goofy.
Oh shit!
You didn't know that?
Oh shit, okay.
Yeah, that's right. Shez gets canonically bullied by Muppet Goofy. Where's my yuckin' money?
Damn, okay.
I can't do the Goofy voice, so don't ask me. But yeah, that's basically the gist of it.
Well, neither can I. Never mind.
Yeah, so yeah, I agree.
Let's move on.
That's what I've been saying. Fodlan has some of the best lore in the franchise, because it's like up there with Yggdrasil, though. Don't tell the old Fire Emblem fans that, because I don't think they'd want to hear it, because, praise for 3 houses in my house? Get out. We're not here to be mean and elitist. This is just for fun, but I will give credit where credit's due, and I do like 3 houses, so don't assume I'm a hater. I just am tired of the fan base constantly arguing. But
I mean, if anything, both of us, we just like each entry, there's something that we really like and some things that we really dislike. And
Yeah.
Sometimes the dislike is just more.
The only thing I really dislike is Tokyo Mirage Sessions because of what it is and what it should have been, in my opinion. But that's just me being a salty Mega 10 fan. You don't know how bad I wanted...
I'm not exactly a huge Mega 10 fan.
Yeah, you don't know how bad I wanted that Demi-Fiend teaming up with, like, Hector Fire Emblem content. That would have been so fun. I remember seeing, like, fan art of, like...
Okay.
What?
Okay, so before we get to my second point, there's something I want to add about this.
Okay.
We already have something in Mega 10 that is very close to what we wanted in the crossover. Devil Survivor.
Yeah, that was actually why they didn't do that.
Devil Survivor.
Yeah, that's actually why... I don't know if you heard this. That's why they didn't go with what they were going to do initially, because they just said, wait, this is just going to turn into Devil Survivor, where you move around the map, and then when you engage in combat, it turns into... a Mega 10 game. I'm assuming you played the game. Have you played the games?
I played the first Devil Survivor.
Okay, then you know how the gimmick works. It plays literally like that. It was gonna play like that, and the thing was, what could they didn't want to think about how do we give, like, okay, Mega 10 characters having spells, like using Augie spells or whatever, makes sense. But what about these Fire Emblem characters? Because sadly, not all of them, especially if we're going by lords only, not all of them use magic. Canonically, like, of all of the ones from up till Awakening, the only characters I can think of that canonically use magic are Lilina and Celica and Nakaya. That's about it. And even then it's mostly fire, light, and fire or whatever. So not much to go off of. I think they could have got creative, like, sometimes there are spells in Mega 10 games where you combine elements like a physical electric attack, but maybe that would have been too complicated for what they were trying to do.
Again, taking from Mega 10 games, they do have elemental gems, right? Like RG gem and all that.
Yeah.
They could incorporate that too.
I think they just didn't want to take the creative liberties because, I mean, they say they did this, yet look at Faye. You see Erica, who's canonically said she can't do magic.
You about creative liberties. They did take a huge creative liberty with TMS.
Yeah, they used the original characters and then just turned Chrom into a stand. But yeah, what about?
Just kind of based, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's all for that point. I think we can move on to your second wish.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So my second wish is definitely a way to keep interest in series between mainline releases besides Fire Emblem Heroes. Obligatory rest in peace, Cypher. But yeah.
Oh, you want Cypher to come back?
There can be so many.
You want Cypher?
Not necessarily come back. I mean, if it does, that'd be amazing. But I think that there are other ways the series they can keep interest in the series between the mainline releases, like potentially an anime. I mean, there's already engaged manga going around, and an anime would be even better. Let's be honest. Maybe some light novel releases, and since drama CD stuff is popular in Japan, they can also do something similar here in the West.
There are some drama CDs actually out there. I remember Awakening had one, which actually is the thing that further explained the lore. Actually, do you ever remember one of those, like, 4 Coma comics? There was one that's actually based on a drama CD where it explains how Lucina and her friends got away from Grima and fled to our time, but before they left...
Wait a second.
What?
So, is this available in English?
No, obviously not. Obviously not.
Exactly. That's my point.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's what you mean, exactly. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, like, yeah, drama CDs do exist, but they're very rare. I don't know if Fate's got a drama CD. It might have, but that'd be something you'd have to find, like, a Fire Emblem game-specific iceberg for, because I found that out through obscure, like, trivia on the Fire Emblem wiki. Not ironically enough, it wasn't on the actual good wiki. It was on the fandom wiki where I found out about that bit of trivia. I read the transcript, and yeah, like, there's some good stuff there, but you have to really look for it. So I wish you luck if you try to find it. But I would definitely be on board with English drama CDs.
Exactly. So like stuff like English drama series, maybe another way to like how else can you keep interest other than gacha? Trading card game that is official and easily available merchandise, which I know Nintendo will never do, but one can hope.
They could always turn it into a game itself, although, yeah, I don't think we're in need for a second Fire Emblem gacha, especially because it's a card game. Because I think the reason why they would never do that is because the competition is fierce. I'm not even talking like Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, TCG. No, TCG is a whole other universe, if anything. So yeah.
Yeah. Ironically, Faye's strength is that there aren't many that play like a strategy RPG like they do, for at least for a gacha is concerned. But I would definitely like to see that. Plus, you know, giving more of these English voice actors a chance to get more work done, it's always appreciated. But the only issue I have with it is that it's very fickle, especially with today's games, because you know you have interference with the player input. I'm not even going with just like the self-insert types like your Robins or your Aleers. It's just anything, especially if they have options for like paired endings, would create issues. So you have to make them all much more safe and buddy-buddy, or just stick with like the canon main cast, like the Lords.
Either that, or they can also go a complete what if route, similar to Marvel's What If. Like, you know, let's take Awakening for example. Yeah, there's already a what if scenario over there where Grima wins and you know the future's in shambles, right? So similarly for other games, like maybe what if Leon really overpowers Eric and Ephraim in Sacred Stones? What would be the, you know, scenario after that? They could definitely play around and not necessarily stick with canon material.
$5 is a fan fiction about stuff like that. The only what if I could think of at the top of my head is
there's fan fiction about everything.
Yeah, pretty much. If I had to throw my hat in the what if ring, my what if would be, what if Robin fell in Valm instead of Elise and met Walhart? Because one of the cool things about Walhart is that he is a nod to obviously Alm and Rudolph. He's so inspired by Alm, yet because he doesn't have a Celica with him or anyone that's truly supportive and sees him as an
completely
equal.
goes.
He takes the lesson from Rudolph, but Rudolph was a sacrifice, not a fall. But yeah, that's like.
Wait a second, that's such a good what if.
Yeah, because Robin, especially given how like they do have a canon personality, unlike Byleth. Which, no offense to Byleth, there's some quirks in there, but yeah, Robin's one of those more like they can stand on their own as like a person. Maybe not like as a great main character. But as their own person, they've got canon interests and hobbies as well as tastes. For some reason, they like bear, which I think I can't think of many countries besides like northernmost Japan that eat bear. But that's only because I played Yakuza 5. But anyway, I would definitely not be against anything that has more like stuff with voice acting, as you know I love English voice acting, especially with Fire Emblem. So. Give them what they're due. The only issue is, like I said, it might only be like they might just stick with safer main characters. The only way a side character would get a shot of being in is if they're super popular, like a Yunaka, which is aka Miss Automatic Choose Your Legends next year, because she's definitely gonna win. I would be shocked if she doesn't get the top 2. But yeah,
that is true.
Like unless you're a Yunaka, you're not getting on that.
This gives me an idea. It's like so again, similar concept to drama series or maybe even light novels, right? Expansion on other characters. Let's just take Engage as a vacuum for now. We have so many interesting characters. Again, Yunaka. She wasn't some ex-assassin, I believe. Yeah. So there could be some story about how, you know, she the environment she grew up in, why she became an assassin, and what made her change, right? I mean, it must be explained in supports, but going in depth is definitely always beneficial. So something like that. I mean, Final Fantasy does similar thing. Like Final Fantasy 15, there are different DLC chapters for each of the party members, including the main villain.
Yeah, I can see it working. It's up to them, really. It's just a matter of do they want to try for it. Fire Emblem is a bigger franchise.
can
It's not a
definitely go
niche
for it.
franchise anymore. But I think it's really up to Nintendo and Intelligent Systems if they want to push for that. But just getting the content's hard enough. Getting it into America is a taller order.
They have such a gold mine, man.
They are sitting on
They
money.
have a gold mine that they're just... Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you can't name a more iconic company that's just sitting on some money like Nintendo. I mean, they could definitely make more stuff out of Pokemon, not just the game. I'm talking about like other things. Like you could make a whole other show about Pokemon, but they just stick to the main anime, which now it's just switched to a new girl, but it's still the same in spirit. With that Liko girl.
I mean, yeah. Like I did watch a couple of episodes of that, and it definitely seems a bit different. It's not exactly the same beat as Ash's anime, but yeah, I can see where you're going.
Yeah, I'm saying like the same in spirit, not literally the same goal. Or she's like, I want to be the strongest trainer. That they would not work with that, which is, you know, I think that's for the best. Signals the changing of the times. But anyway,
absolutely.
I think we can move on to my next reason or my second wish if you want. Okay, so
yeah, absolutely.
So we were talking about spin-offs and stuff. Ironically, my second one, it does involve warriors. I want a true Warriors sequel using actual characters from other games instead of just let's make Three Houses What If. I know they did that because the Three Houses train, the hype train, they had not hit such gold since Awakening. If Awakening came out around that time, they definitely would have made Awakening specific warriors as well. I don't think they'll do that with Engage, however.
I mean, yeah. I mean, speaking of the original warriors, they definitely had more of an Awakening influence. Awakening plus Fates, because as you can see, the characters available over there are mostly Awakening Fates, a Shadow Dragon here and there, and the outliers being FE7 and Echoes.
Just Lynn and Celica.
Yeah.
I feel bad that it should.
But yeah,
I feel like it should have been Alm. But yeah.
I definitely agree with your proper sequel. And this time, if they're going for it, I want them to be as silly, goofy, and not take the story seriously at all. Just pure fan service. Because when you're combining different characters from different games, and you want to create a premise that will fit them in, it's either you make something that, you know, it's completely silly just for fan service purposes, or try and create a serious story but eventually fail in the end, because as far as I know, they're not really as good with you know, crossover content.
Yeah. I will say, if there was an interview quote after the game released where they said you want more, because they knew about they were ready for the complaints about like, really, Awakening and Fates only, the new games, what about the old ones? They said, well, we'll buy the game and maybe we'll make another one and use other characters like Roy like you want. And then of course they basically say,
okay, for us to buy the game, you need to sell the game.
Yeah. I think it sold well enough, but the thing was that did not happen at all. They just cashed in on the Three Houses hype, like I said. So if I could choose a couple areas, I would say definitely use Alib, as in both Fire Emblem 6 and 7, and Tellius, which is FE9 and 10. I would love the Yggdrasil area, but honestly, that'd be too much at that point. I feel like just sticking to 2 games, especially 2 of the most iconic areas, because Tellius is just an overall fan favorite. It's definitely like one of the least hated. I know Radiant Dawn gets crap, but they don't hate the world, they just hate the gameplay. But you know, Ike is iconic.
It's not, I mean, it's not exactly the gameplay, but
the difficulty is a lie. But easy is not easy, it's normal.
Yep.
Oh god.
The difficulty is a lie, the supports and everything, I mean, it was a mess, definitely. But as a continent, the lore that it has, it's pretty interesting, Tellius. So one thought I had that can potentially happen is they can just take Alib as an isolated continent and maybe do some time travel or time space shenanigans where FE7, FE6 plus heroes from Scouting.
Oh god, they will definitely sneak in a Fae character. Honestly, my other idea was, why not just set it in Fae?
Fae? No, where? Wait, what the fuck? Okay, yeah, that's also a good idea.
Just set it in Fae.
I didn't really have Fae in mind. I'm just like,
they're never gonna add those because if you're not gonna use the Warriors OCs, the two blonde twins, I forget their names. I think one of them's Lowen. Everybody likes the girl, I know that, but
Liana.
Yeah, I just call the guy medieval Ryuji because he just looks like him. If you, but he does look. He has his fucking hair. The only difference is he's got a little crown circlet thing on his head. That's it. Otherwise, he's almost a delinquent. But that's not the point. So to me, you either go back there and use new characters. Maybe you can bring back a couple old ones as like extras, like how you did with Lynn and Celica. But either you do that or you just set it in Fae. Why not? It's not going to be canon. Fae's technically not canon. It has its own, but everyone's canon. Every copy of Fae is personalized, so why not? Let's just do that. You can pick. I mean, you can go with characters from every game at that point because the world is literally your oyster. Because you can summon literally. Obviously, you don't use everybody. You just take the lords or whatever. You can get like 2 lords or 3 from each game.
I do have a point later down that I noted that is somewhat similar to what you're talking right now, but I'll get to it when we get there.
$5, it's the fighting game, because that's the other thing people want. I mean, but yeah, anyway, either you do that route or you just stick with the old Warriors one.
Yeah, sure, take your $5.
Oh my god, I thought it was, because that's the one other people want.
It's part of my point, but it's not exactly it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll just finish. I'm just going to try and finish up my point, so yeah. The only reason I want the other one is because I want specific characters from specific games, because Fae can be broad. That can be a strength and a weakness, because on one hand you can appeal to as many as you want, it's up to you. But on the other, that also is, you're just getting a little bit out of everything, and even then it's only the main characters, because one of the cool things to me that Warriors did was it didn't just focus on the lords. It did, for the main story it does, but you can play as other characters that are like side characters. Like, I mean, I don't like her, but you can play as, say, Obero, for example, as well as Niles, which is, that's cool. And then you get a Wayne, which is great. Getting a Wayne is great, but those were DLC, mind you. But I would love to see, like, not just the Lord. So, say if we went with my idea of Tellius and Elib, that means you only have, so going off of the canon lords, here's the roster. You get Roy, Lelina, the big 3 from Fire Emblem 7, Lynn, Hector, Eliwood. And then on the other side, you get Ike and Micaiah and Alincia, but they're probably going to have Soren because, they love him, and he is kind of a main character, technically. He can't die at the very least. And then someone else like Soph.
Once he gets a legendary alt, definitely.
And then here's the cool twist. You could definitely get some good use out of the villains. Get the Black Knight involved, or you get Zephiel. Be pretty good. But of course, to me, the best part is getting some of those really beloved characters, like say Mia as a playable character, or going to the Elib side. I'm trying to think of one that would really do well. I mean, I'm going to say put my boy Canis in there. I don't think they ever would, but you could use some Dark Mage reps. There's no Dark Mages in Tellius, so your options are his mom, him, or Sophia, which they're probably going to pick Sophia, let's be real. If they're a girl, they got a higher chance, but yeah. That's just how Fae is in general. That's thinking Fae in Fae terms. But yeah, I just want another excuse to get my boy Canis content. Yeah, Fae won't give him an alt, but I'll find a way to make him relevant again. Alright, let's go to your third...
Let's make our own Canis emblem ROM hack.
Oh yeah, let's go with your third wish.
Right. I might catch some flack for this, but my third wish is that a new entry that is balanced in terms of gameplay, story, and the side content it provides. Because currently, at least what I feel is that either the story is heavily emphasized and the gameplay is sort of lacking, or the gameplay is extremely good and the story is mediocre. You get what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, I need not necessarily specify the entries, but you can get some.
I will say, I feel like everybody puts too much stock in story because that's implying Fire Emblem has had nothing but amazing stories right out the gate. I think the only great story is like the Udro game and maybe Echoes. I haven't played 3 because they never brought it here, not in any way or form. So I can tell you that. And 1 is okay.
I mean, as someone whose favorite, someone whose favorite content is Arcanea for obvious reasons. The story is pretty decent. I mean, I get the feeling that it's a simple.
It was their first crack at it.
Knows what it's properly doing. Yeah, they knew what they were doing though, even though it was first crack and they're experimenting it, and things felt fine and concise. But as they kept on adding new ideas, it kind of overflowed their idea basket, if that makes sense.
Yes, I would be fine with that, but I think it's something that's up to them. The only other issue is again the My Unit characters they've been a thorn, and I'll stress this enough. I actually have a point regarding to My Units on my list somewhere, but I don't think My Units are inherently bad, but it's how they're being implemented. People give Engage a lot of crap, but I kind of want to say no because it's an anniversary game first off. So having the idea for an anniversary game, they make you a literal god and everybody worships you just for existing. I think there's a little bit of a meta commentary in there, and I find that humorous. Obviously, it gets a little yikes sometimes.
I hadn't thought of that, but that is...
You never thought of it that way?
So the thing about Alea, I mean, honestly, the only thing that when I play Engage is looking at making my character strong, because that's literally a strong point. It's gameplay, right?
Yeah.
So how do you tackle the next map? Do you change your class, whatnot? Anyway, the thing about Alea is that it's only a My Unit in a superficial term. It's not like Corrin, it's not like Robin, and definitely not like Ballet either. So somewhat like Ballet, but where I'm getting at is it's just the name and the gender that you're picking. Other than that, everything else is as it is. It's completely superficial in nature. Whereas with characters like Robin and Corrin, Robin is still somewhat in the sidelines, being the main character.
Until the very end.
And their decisions don't really matter. Yeah, until the very end, exactly. Until the last arc. And Corrin could have definitely been executed well. I definitely love both of their designs, especially the dragon form. It's really cool.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, I mean, everybody likes the girl's design. I don't want to sound like I don't want to sound mean, but I feel like some people like her mainly for her looks, and I'm not a fan of the characters, neither of them, because they're the same person. The gender doesn't mean anything in this case, because they're the same person throughout for all of them. So, they're all the same person. There is no
so the reason why I also added side content in my point is that so side content, we include stuff like supports, because most of the conversations are completely detached from the main story most of the times, and other stuff like maybe some online play, maybe side stories, etc., whatever it is. So the thing about supports is I kind of want them to be reflecting the point of the story where they're at. It's definitely more dynamic and difficult to implement, I get that, but when there's a serious incident going on in the story and suddenly you enter a support and it's completely wacky, goofy, fun, funny footsteps, that just takes you out of the story completely. It ruins it, at least for me.
There is one issue with that, because sometimes you may not get, like if you get an early support chapter way later because you didn't deploy these characters, or worse, you just didn't have them together at all because they're always doing different things because of how the map's set up. Like for example, like say you're playing 3 houses, you might get a silly support with Annette because you recruited her way later in the story when things are getting serious because you're playing Golden Deer or whatever. So you might not have her supporting with the other characters that much, so it's going to be silly at first. I think a compromise would be to say, these characters you can rank them up, but you can't see their story until later because we haven't hit chapter whatever. So
that is a good compromise, yeah. Another thing that I had in mind is change the way units gain support points. Instead of just during the battle, during the map, there are other side activities that you offer. Like, for example, in Three Houses, there's the weekly tasks that they do, Pegasus Watch or whatnot. And in Engage, there's that swimming thing, whatever. So they do increase support points, but maybe make that sort of passive in nature. That way, it progresses along the story, and as you said, even if they do unlock support bonuses earlier, the story content, it will be available once you get to a certain point.
I think that can work.
Something.
I just think that they should not hold back. I know actually Three Houses, I believe, did have some of that, but maybe. I think with I remember with Edelgard, you had to wait for a certain point to advance. I'm thinking of the time skip.
Specific to Edelgard, and most of the other characters, time skip.
Yeah, the time skip.
I was over to get to that.
Yeah, the thing is, some characters you actually get locked out of supports. Like, here's something I found out when I played I did the Golden House or Golden Deer. I did Black Eagles first. I recruited Lysithea in the time skip, which meant beating her, and then I could spare her and get her to join me. When I did that, I found out Byleth could not support with her because one of the supports involved the actual school life. Like, school life was directly involved with it, so you can't. So the game said you're past the point where you can support with her. So you had to have done that beforehand. Again, you would not have known. But
that's fascinating. Wow.
That's the fear. That's the problem with what you were thinking. If you have situations like that where, you needed to be at this point in the story, imagine getting locked out of a support because you didn't support with them in the mid game. You couldn't, if you didn't get their B support in the mid game, you can't A support or worse S support them if that option's available. That's the only game I know that does that. I don't know about if other games can lock you out. I think technically some of the Tellius games can do that, but that's because they are literally tied to the story. I think what you're thinking of is like something like the Tellius games, the barracks chats, where they're not even supports sometimes. They're just what's happening with the world right now. Like, we're in Crimea right now, so we're reflecting on the environment.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely something, a way to reflect on the environment. So it's like Barracks and Tellius, especially Radiant Dawn, but better, if you get what I mean. Because Barracks was still limited when it came to the conversation that you can have.
Yeah, I can understand.
Characters reflecting the environment, the real time. Yeah.
All right. I think
it'll flesh them out even more.
That can work. I think that can work, especially if some characters don't have supports. There's at least some interaction. I'm gonna go with my third wish now. You're not ready for this one. This is gonna sound. This is blasphemous. Okay. This is a bit of a joke one for me, but I'm starting to feel it, man. I want the end of Faye. I want it to die. Part of this is being spiteful, and not just because of recent summonings for Severa. I mean this in general, and I'm not gonna say that it's done nothing for the franchise. Faye has done good things for the franchise. It's put a bright spotlight on obscure characters. I mean, Reinhardt has become a meme. Do people use him competitively? No, only like newcomers. But he's so well fixated in like people's minds. He's iconic to Faye to the point where when they announced the PvP, he was doing live commentary. For the tutorial video. They would not have done that,
I remember that.
if not for the fact Reinhardt is just a meme. He's more iconic as a Faye character than Thracia, which no slack to his Thracia character. It's very good, which is why those games need remakes. But you see what I mean? Like, Faye has done good things. It's made irrelevant characters get a second chance of being noticed and loved, like in the case of Reinhardt. It's given some excellent character depth that you will never find in their main games. I'm trying to think of an example of that right now, but there's some other stuff you'll have to find out on your own. There's some good stuff out there, and I like that. But the meta has gone so bad where it's kind of insane to have. I mean, just to look at the Christmas banner. That was Power Creepmas right now. Merry Power Creepmas to you, Coffee.
Okay, so I have like strong opinions about the current Christmas banner. Now, before we get to that, just look at the previous banner that we got, which was
Which one? The seasonal banner or the normal banner?
no, the normal banner.
Severa
So,
and
it was
Ratatoskr and
Neo,
Lucina?
I think. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that one. So everything felt fine till then. Like the power creep, okay, it was going in a normal manner, like the regular progression that we are used to. Then, out of nowhere, 3 houses comes again. Plus Yunaka, by the way.
Yunaka's just, I don't even
And
know
they're
these
like,
kids.
You know what? She's just there. She's just like, yeah, I want to dump bodies in the snow.
Hot take, I want Yunaka to be the mascot of Faye from now on instead of that stupid owl. I hate the owl. They changed the voice actress thinking, oh, people just didn't like the voice. No, we don't like the character. It's obnoxious. Phoenix is cool.
That is true, yeah.
But the bird, the normal bird, is
Bring him back.
cringe. I don't like that bird. But anyway, yeah, go on.
Yeah, so I was saying, the current Christmas banner, oh my god, where do I even begin with? Okay, first of all, we really need... Okay, you know what, before I get to that, that's actually my fourth point is a rant about Faye. So I'll let you finish first and I'll then get back to mine.
Oh my god, you had your own thing. Yeah, I just want it to end. If they're not going to give me my con assault, which they disrespected my boy. They gave him the owl tome and res tactic and HP and res 2. What? This is the only Dark Mage in Fire Emblem 7. I'm being a fanboy here. I apologize. But this guy he's not a meme, but if you played Fire Emblem 7, you know this guy because he's the only Dark Mage, so you're probably going to use him. Because a lot of people like to have one of each unit if possible because of that diversity. But Kanas with the Lunatome shreds all the Troubadour or Valkyrie ladies and sages on the Linus or Lloyd map, Cogs of Fate, which is probably the most iconic chapter in that whole game. So when a bunch of Valkyries come in and you have Kanas facing them with the Lunatome, they just die. They can't hurt him, and because of how Luna works, basically the higher the res stat on your enemy, the stronger your attack will be. It's based on the res stat, and these guys on hard mode have 30 res.
Correct me if I'm not wrong. Kanas is more defensively oriented, right? Or is he just...
He's a little more bulky.
Because I remember using him... Yeah, I remember using well against melee opponents as well.
Yeah, he
just used to just delete them. Like, done.
Yeah, there's a lot of misconception that Luna kills everything because it's got 30 crit, which is true, but he's best to use that tome on other high-res units because it's more base power. So he's going to kill some... Like, one of my best examples is you throw him up against... what's that fucker's name? Either against Sonya or against the non-binary character. I'm forgetting their name. Limstella, yeah. Especially Limstella can't do shit to Kanas. Kanas just laughs at the face of the Fumbulvatir. He eats more for breakfast.
Yeah, imagine my disappointment and surprise when... Okay, the first time I knew about Kanas and recruited him was in my second playthrough. Because my first playthrough, I didn't even know well about visiting houses.
Oh yeah, you can miss him.
Characters usually join. Yeah. Characters usually join when they're on the map or when you talk to them, etc. So, and that I think his name is Fargus, right? That captain.
Yeah, who they finally added to Faye, by the way.
So. Yep. So yeah. In his map, my entire goal in my first playthrough was, okay, I need to get to him somehow in this limited amount of turns, otherwise, game over, sort of. And I completely glossed over his house, Kanas' house.
Yeah, they don't tell you about it.
So in my... and in the second playthrough, that surprise was just so cool. Like, oh, Dark Mage. I've never used that, so I'll use him in the same chapter. I'll use him against mages. He made fights against Black Fang so much more tolerable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
because
since that was my second playthrough, yeah.
Yeah, because he's the only dark mage, and they typically, ironically enough, they use more mages. And if there's ever a dark mage, you could just sick Lucius on them; they'll die.
That's true.
But for every other magic type, you like for other dark mages, or what's it called? Or anima magic, which is the most common ones out there, he'll take them on. And like I said, Valkyries are fast, but they're not exactly hard hitters. They're good at chip, but Canis laughs at the face of them and then kills them with the Lunatome. Is he the greatest unit ever? No, not by a long shot. Any speedrunner of Fire Emblem 7, or like do those what are they called? The drafts?
TCs.
The drafts? He's not the greatest one, but he's still someone you might want to pick up for those situations. But anyway, yeah, that's just one character of mine that got really shafted, and I mean, you've seen the dedication I put into my Canis, and here's the funniest part. I'm not even the one with the best kit I've ever seen. I've seen people put even more stuff on him. The only reason my Canis has good stuff is because I pulled a Brave Soren, and I thought, I don't care if he's great meta-wise. I'm killing this bastard because I don't like Soren Fire Emblem. But we'll not get into that part. So yeah, my Canis has Flare, and he has Magical Null Follow-Up. And he still has Mirror Impact, but I'm working to get him Attack Res Finish 4. As well as Ophelia's Tome, by the way. The rearmed Ophelia.
You don't have that yet?
But anyway, point is, phase power creep is getting worse and worse. It keeps getting worse. Like, when the Brave Banner came out, Golveg was disgusting. And then they made another version of her. And her normal version, I said it to my friend Brooke and Derek, that you think this Golveg's bad, wait till they add the real one. She's gonna be worse. And what happened? She's worse.
She is worse.
Even Brave Corrin cannot kill her. It's pretty bad.
Honestly, she is worse, but ever since I stopped giving a shit about AR, Aether Raids.
Aether Raids is not fun. I'm just in tier 19, tier 20. Because I know it's even then it's kind of BS. I lost the match because there was a Brave Corrin left, and my strongest physical attacker Reagan was dead, which I don't even think she could have killed her. I don't even think my Brave Tiki could kill her.
At least you're like tier 19 or whatnot. I stopped giving so much of a shit that I'm back in like tier 11, tier 2.
All I do is I do my 3 a week to get like the grails, and maybe sometimes I'll push for 2 more to get the other 2 rewards, but I'm not trying to go higher. I don't care. It's not fun. In Arena, I just keep flirting from 17 to 19 tiers. That spot. I want to get a crown once, but I don't think I will. Because you need to have the best units, and you need them merged. Like, it's basically, I think the best way I could summarize this issue is that they're clearly wanting you to summon more. So I'll just leave it at this point. You clearly want you to summon more with all these broken characters, because look at what happened. Look at this annoying Golveg. How can I deal with them? It happened when Fallen Edelgard came into play. Because what happened after everybody's like, God, this unit's so annoying.
Yeah.
How do we get rid of her? Then they introduced legendary male Byleth, which, as long as they're both fully healthy, as long as he's fully healthy, he will always kill her as long as he initiates the attack. That's just how he's built. That's how his whole kit's based off of. He kills her every single time. As long as he's fully healthy, he will win. Even if she's transformed. Yep. And then we have other characters like this, like, oh, look, here's another broken character. How are we going to kill them? Then a month later, someone who can counter them comes out. When Legendary Sigurd came and basically gave +1 movement to everybody, how do we deal with that? Then they introduced a character with stall, so he could not get that extra movement anymore. It's a pattern.
Yep.
And what you want to stay in the meta, you want to stay viable, you have to summon them. But then you may need a counter for that person. What do you do? Summon them. You're not going to have enough orbs. What do they want you to do? Buy them. This is...
They really need to change, because if they keep on going the same pattern over and over and over again, it's gonna die out eventually. And I know that's what you really...
That's what I want. I mean, I want to break... I really... Part of me wants to uninstall, but it's just that gambler's fallacy of what I've invested time. The time I've invested in, it feels like it'll go to waste, which...
money.
Yeah, I'm starting to just think, fuck it. I mean, when you think about it, it's already going to be a sunken cost, even if you spent no money. Even if you're like completely free to play, it doesn't matter. You still spent that money and the effort to make these characters as good as you wanted them to be. Ultimately, one day this game will get shut down. It may not be for a while, but you bet your ass whenever I hear end of service announcement, I'm smoking that owl pack, and it will be great. But yeah, I'm getting tired of face power creep. It's getting worse. People are even dropping out. I mean, even like the top people like who make fake content are getting tired of this. I mean, your friend Phoenix Master, I can only imagine how tired he's been from having to break down all these skills that have like a bajillion effects. This attack has null follow-up built into it, but it also has cannot be disrupted, and it can attack from any range. That's a general example, but these...
I'm getting to that.
Yeah.
I'm getting to that. That is exactly my next wish. So...
Okay, then. We'll let you go to fourth wish. Let's go.
Yep. One word. Glossary. That's all I want in Faye at the moment. Not even inheriting 5 skills at once.
Oh, you know why they won't do that.
Better gacha
They'll never do that.
Fuck. Just give me a glossary. Because, okay, let me tell you why. So, you know the templates that Phoenix Master 1 works on? I help him with that. So, all the weapon summarizing that you see, most of it is just a combined effort of both of us. So, whenever I see those huge-ass skills, I'm like, okay, this is big enough. And once I summarize it down, I'm like, bloody hell, most of it can be easily said using the effect name. Like, instead of saying the entire null follow-up description, you can just say null follow-up.
The special fighter description.
Or, you know,
or
the special fighter description. Or instead of saying unit can counterattack regardless of foe's range, just say close or distant counter.
Yeah, they could do that.
It's a meme right now, right? Like ever since 2 years ago, that Yu-Gi-Oh style descriptions. Half of it is just fluff.
You know, we were warned, right?
It's just stuff that's being repeated.
Remember when they added normal flora? That was the sign. Remember when we thought that was an insane description, and then it's like, oh, you foolish child, we've only just begun. They're making some of these descriptions are making the U.S. Constitution preamble look like a short story. Or not even a short. They're making it look like a one-liner. These are short stories.
Absolutely. I mean, just take beast units again. Most of their weapon description is transformation condition and transformation bonuses. Instead of just summarizing it in those two points, they have to write a huge here's the the stuff before the story, then there's the main body, then there's the ending, and then there's the post story. They're like fucking writing a novel in each of these weapon descriptions.
Oh yeah, and they add examples too now. Just so in case you don't understand.
Yep.
I know there was a YouTuber who put that out there.
How Fade Sparrow works.
Yeah.
Which one?
There was a YouTuber I saw that talked about that, like just add a glossary as well. I don't know, I forget their name, but I think they're a whale though. Although they don't hide that fact, apparently. If I ever find it, if I find the video, I'll show it to you.
This since, But so I've been saying this for I don't know how many years, like 3 years now, 3-4 years now. And
everyone else is starting to say this, I think they will do it eventually. But that's probably going to be for like a big update, like a new New Year update or something like that.
Anniversary update, yeah.
Yeah, probably. But oh god,
and
I don't know how great they did that.
I've also been sharing it. On the feedback section in the game.
Yeah, if that's the case, then I think it will happen one day. That's probably something that might come true, but again, it's up to them. But they've got other issues in mind, like actually not losing this base because my friend Derek wants to quit. I want to quit. It's getting out of hand. I mean, the game's also just kind of not fun for me anymore. I like the idea of just doing these little events and stuff, but the grind, it's not that fun anymore. I'm burned out of it. The summoning is just frustrating because I'm gonna tell you right now, man, I can't tell you the last time I've summoned for a banner and I didn't have to spark for the one I wanted. For Severa, I could not pull her until I sparked her, which I got Pity Broke by Shez, and I got Ratatosk. I was sitting at 3.75, and then I got her after like the first spread, after the Spark, so I got a merge for her. But let's go further back in time. When the Brave banner came out, I wanted to get at least one of everybody, but I also wanted to get another Robin for the merge. I did not. I got 2 Golvags and a Soren, which I immediately fired that Soren because fuck him. But I had to make a call between getting Corrin, who I was hearing was so good that like, I'd be a fool to not pick her up because I already got my Robin as the free unit, right? So I merge my free Robin because I love Robin. Or I take Corrin because she's just the best that I should get. In fact, some might say, why did you take Severa? She's cool, but Arcane Lucina is great. You'd be a fool not to take her. But I didn't. I went with my heart. And maybe I'll regret that because of how the meta is. But I can tell you example after example where I could not... It's like the game knows who I want and it won't get it. There's this whole desire sensor theory, the conspiracy theory. You may as well put a tinfoil hat on me because it feels like that. But the fact that I have not, in so long, pulled a character I wanted early, or at least in the middle, at all, is just something wrong there. It feels wrong. But...
That's me whenever I play Fae or whenever I summon. I always have my tinfoil hat.
Summoning is not fun.
There's something that we need to know. It's not
like,
fun. You want to know the main reason why?
Why?
Because they keep on adding so many new units and the pool is just like pool for every color. It's just bloated. And the average number of orbs that we used to spend, let's say 3 years ago to get the unit that we want is definitely a lot, has increased to get the unit that we want.
They would have to be shelving people to the 4-star rate more and more before they would feel imbalanced. The other thing is, I will say...
They need to.
What?
Need to. Oh. They need to do that. That's what I'm saying.
They need to do more of that. I mean, they're not going to do it until next month, I think. January, February is when they do it. So, probably the anniversary update. When the anniversary update comes out, they'll do it. At least I think so. But, yeah, good luck with that. I don't trust these guys because, again, I think all their for being one of the most profitable... I mean, it's the most profitable Nintendo game. I know people think, oh, but Pokemon. Pokemon, yes, as it's on its own as a franchise, it puts Marvel and Star Wars to shame combined. Kind of crazy. But in terms of the mobile games, Fire Emblem makes more money than all the Mario games combined and all the Pokemon games combined and every other gacha they've ever released or whatever they put out together. They don't come close to this game. Yet I have to wonder, why are they wanting more and more money? I know it's a business, but it's like you're desperate for more money in my mind. At least this is how I see it. Because why? Like you're one of the most profitable games out there. Not just with Nintendo. They got the gold medal on lockdown. But and all of these, I know there's a bunch of other gachas, but it's not a big deal. I mean, you even lost a potential. I don't even want to call it a competitor. Dragalia Lost, which you love and I love. I miss it. The summoning was sometimes frustrating, but it didn't feel this bad compared to that game. That's because
the thing about summoning is, remember about Dragalia, there's one thing. They improved. They kept on improving the summoning system.
They did.
First, they had those cards.
Yeah, they removed them. I remember. I wasn't around for that part. I joined after, but I heard about it.
I was around for that, and that was such a huge change. I love that change, and they just made summoning so much more easier. And even if you get a dupe, they ensure that it's not a waste for you. You can at least get something out of that.
Yep. And I know like the only things you could dupe anyway and keep were dragons. But adventurers was just that's why adventurers were harder to get than dragons in my opinion. But yeah, Faye has not. If any improvements have been done, it's been locked away mostly to Fae Pass. And I've had Fae Pass a couple times. In fact, I got it now because I wanted that Tiki, or Splendid Tiki. But the fact that some sparks are locked behind that, though, that the little three, I call it the 3 strike system. I know it's called something else, where if you pull non-focus units 3 times in a row.
Yes, focus charge.
The focus charge. You can. That's some of those with the exception of new banners, as in new normal banners, like say the banner with Severa and Lucina right now. Every other banner that has that is locked behind Fate Pass. Even normal ones, even the casual ones, the 4%ers, which you can't even spark for, by the way. The fact that not every single banner is sparkable, including returning ones, is stupid in my mind. All of them should be sparkable. Even the old banners from Dragalia were all sparkable. But some sparks are locked behind the Fate Pass. Legendary Mythic Hero, Fate Pass. Seasonal banners, well, with the exception of the Christmas one going on now, Fate Pass. Do you see what I mean? They really want you to make that money. They really want to make that money and get money off of you. And I'm thinking, why? It's not like you're not making any money. It feels like they're just trying to take any money before they take it and run. I don't know. Maybe I'm being salty.
Yeah,
there is definitely some salt. But I just don't like how this is feeling. It just doesn't feel fun anymore. The power creep, the summoning bullshit, everything just feeling worse and worse. And yeah, on top of the lack of true, I feel like they're not doing enough for representation. I mean, it's gotten so bad. We're feeling bad for Engage. The fact that Engage hasn't gotten many banners, but 3 houses continues to get new ones every season. Every 3 months we get 3 houses content. It feels like some way or form.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we could stop with Faye, because I've got nothing else to say on Faye now. I got it all out of my system. Do you have anything else you want to say?
No.
But I agree.
I mean, I have a huge, rant about Faye, but I think that's best saved for another time.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, I thought you had one more point on Faye. I was like, oh, let's get it. I'm ready. I'm ready to turn this into a Faye hit piece.
That's just me wanting to get out of my frustration and salt out of the stupid
I
game.
Legit want to know what some of these top Faye tubers, like Phoenix Master. My friend Keith had his circumstances for not continuing his content, but even then, even he could tell me that the frustration, it was starting to get a little out there, a little insane, and well, he jumped ship before the storm got worse. But anyway. My fourth point, let's return to something nice. Let's return to something more peak. Let's return to Alib.
Yeah.
So, going back to the Alib stuff...
Hell yeah.
I want a remake of Fire Emblem 7 before Fire Emblem 6. And now you may say, Josh, you're just being a fanboy, which that's kind of the point of this. But there's a reason why I think it makes more sense. I know, everybody wants a Roy remake, and I get it. But here's the problem. When you get your Roy remake, which I feel will be inevitable... You're going to want a Fire Emblem 7 remake, and there's some problems with that in my opinion. It's going to go backwards. I'd rather we go forward from the start. Because one idea I've had is that some people say that they should release them together, and some also are against. I know Mecha is against the idea of having them two connected to each other in some way. I disagree.
Yeah.
I disagree. Because some of the events in 7 can have an effect on 6, and they're not major. None of them are major, but I think it would be really cool if you can connect them. One of the saddest things that hit me in that game when I play it, the Hector mode, when Hector says goodbye to you, the summoner, he says, "We'll meet again, my friend, one day. I know we will." Spoiler alert, you never meet him again, and he dies a tragic death. A warrior's death, but a tragic death nonetheless. Consider this situation. If we're going to have the my unit character, Mark, come back, let's say you have Mark and then he gets to come back and you become Roy's tactician. Is it a self-insert thing? Yes, but guess what? It's not that meddling. Is it kind of a little pretentious? A little, but it's not like Mark is coming in and joining a fight and sweeping the competition like Byleth, where it was like, oh my god, Professor, your battling skills saved us. It saved this army and is going to lead us to conquering all of Fodlan and making it great. Again. But, you see what I mean?
Nah.
This is going to get into a final point later, but Mark is one of my better units in my opinion, because, yeah, they're there and they talk to you, and it kind of sticks out, but you're not ruining the story by your existence. And
that's for a brief moment, exactly.
It's not like, Imagine Zeph like, damn you, Roy, I would have gotten away with this too if it wasn't for your meddling tactician. But anyway, there's that. And there's the possibility of tying up loose ends through characters having supports and being married from 7 to 6. So, like, here are the canon families or canon parents of characters that are in FE7 that are in FE6. Canis you can't do anything about because he's already with someone, and he dies, which is bullshit. Pent and Luis are already together, and they have 2 kids. Or at least one of them's already born. I believe, what's her name? Clarine is born after FE7. But I believe their first kid is already like a baby.
Klein is born.
Klein's already born.
Yeah.
And then Hawkeye already has his daughter. So, but then you have some people that you can help basically decide who gets with who. So Eliwood, you can get it with Ninian or Fiora or Lyn, which, let's be real, only one option is the right one. And that's Ninian. Which means you get to make Roy part Ice Dragon, which is very both cool and ironic considering he has a fire sword. You can influence Hector's partner, which can be Lyn, Florina, or Farina, if I'm not mistaken. I go with Florina because it's kind of funny if that's the case, because that means her voice actress voices both the mother and the daughter. Because they got the same English voice actress.
Wait,
you didn't know this? Okay, you know Sharina voices Lilina, right? In English?
Yeah,
she also voices Florina. They're the same person.
I think
they're the same voice actress. All of them. All 3 of them. Anyway, so you can have stuff like that. And I think it would be very cool if they make nods to the parents, because while we know Eliwood doesn't die, it makes it sound like the mom is dead, which they never say outright. But Ninian makes some sense because they said, okay, if you're gonna stay on this side, you're not gonna live long. You could die. You could die any time. And she's like, I'm fine with that. That's how I want to live. That's how I want to live with Eliwood, which is very sweet. I gotta admit, that's one of the most adorable things in the whole series, in my opinion. But you could have something like that, or where you can bring up. They don't have to be like, say, a big plot point, just a little nod of exposition, or something like that. And some characters don't have to die, obviously. Oh yeah, Rebecca's another one. Rebecca has a son who is Roy's best friend. What's his name? Walt? I think Walt.
Yeah,
Walt. I think it's Walt.
Yeah. True.
So anyway, yeah, you have stuff like that, and I think it would be pretty cool. One other thing, a small little thing in my opinion, is if, depending on who the parents are, their kid might get some boosts in certain stats. It may be like a minus in another stat, kind of like how Awakening and the usual games and Fates do their inheritance stuff. Like, for example, let's say if
there can be some bonuses, but yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but I don't really like the idea of like complete inheritance carrying over. It's just like maybe some sort of bonus. I'd still like them to be independent games. If
that's fine. That's fair. I just think some acknowledgement would be good. Personally, the only thing I would do is minor stats changes, like say if Florina is the mother of Lilina, she might get a point in speed or skill. Something like that. I think that would be good.
Yeah, that's fair. That sounds
yeah, nothing
cool.
like oh, she's gonna get a Pegasus class skill like Gale Force. No, not like that. Just little nods here and there, or they mention, or the mom has a little appearance with them at some point for some, not all, but just an idea like that. But again, I feel like it would be better to do Fire Emblem 7 than 6, because if we go backwards, it's gonna create loopholes. But if you start from the beginning and go forward, you can easily segment them together instead of having to work your way back, if that makes sense. Because this is a shorter prequel story and not something like 100 years ago. You know, you don't have to worry about that. But all right, I think we got your final point, your final wish at this point.
Yeah. So this is something that we kind of talked about earlier in this discussion, but honestly, more spin-offs would be great. And I'm not just talking about what they've already done, but maybe they can also branch out to other genres, experiment, different play styles, different gameplay styles. Like, okay, I'll just get this out of the way. first thing in my mind that has been here for years is an FA exclusive fighting game in the style of that Grand Blue one. Just imagine how cool that would be.
I've been hearing some say they should do it in the style of either with Arc Systems help, which is I don't know if you can do that. It seems like
Yeah, exactly.
it's them or the what do you call Grand Blue Fantasy.
I mean, Arcs is Grand Blue Fantasy is done by Arcs.
Oh, they are too?
If I'm not wrong.
Okay,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I only see one thing
Yeah,
from them,
so it's
and it's the
either
purple-haired
that
girl because everybody really likes her. That's the only thing I know about that game.
Yep, they do a lot.
Oh yeah, she was in Dragalia Lost.
like her a lot.
I remember. I remember they added her before the game got shut down.
It was supposed to be.
Oh, supposed to be.
Supposed to be. Yeah.
Oh yeah, she was in that leak. That's how we found out about
Yep.
Joker. I remember now. There was a big mega leak of characters. That's how we knew I forget the cool old man.
Joker's one of
Yeah,
them.
yeah. Okay. Anyway, you continue.
Yeah, so either in that gameplay style, fighting gameplay style, or something akin to Tekken, because Fire Emblem also has different classes, right? Like cavalry, Pegasus, armor, etc. So to incorporate all of that into a fighting gameplay style, having it set in an arena setting, and characters could freely move around between the different planes, like front and back, along with the typical fighting game.
I think Tekken would work
I think
better
that'd be really
for that
cool to have.
reason. I think maybe.
Yeah. Tekken or Soul Calibur. Soul Calibur is also
Yeah.
It's
That
similar,
3D open arena type. I think that works better.
Exactly. I mean, just imagine you are, let's say, a merc, maybe fighting an Armor Knight, and Armor Knight has their own perks that they can, use to overpower other classes. Similar cavalry, and the magic can also be incorporated in a certain way.
That'd be pretty good, actually.
It's an open concept, of course, but that'd be really cool. It's just something that I have in my mind for like years. And another spin-off in that I think would go really well is more collaboration with other series, because I know that Fire Emblem has only collaborated with Shin Megami Tensei, which is calling it a stretch if I'm being honest, but yeah. So having some way of other collaboration, like for example, let's take Persona 5 for example. They are a typical Megaton RPG, but they've also branched out into warrior style gameplay, which Fire Emblem also has, and they've also branched out into strategic RPG with Persona 5 Tactica.
Yeah.
Right.
That was.
So they technically entered another genre.
They've also had a fighting game series.
I feel like Fire Emblem could. Exactly. So Fire Emblem can also do something similar. Now there are certain things like there's that side story of FE6, right, with another main character. There's a manga available. I forgot that character's name, but he's blue-haired. I mean, who isn't blue-haired in Fire Emblem, but still. So you can have stories like that, or maybe some original scenarios, and just go ahead with them.
I would think
Maybe
of another
have some
genre
sort of,
actually that might work. Maybe. I was gonna say like an RTS maybe could work
something
for
akin
Fire
to-
Emblem.
That could. Oh my god, absolutely.
I mean, it makes sense because it's army management. I think that would be, but instead, like your characters are the ones who lead their like specific garrisons, and they might do different tasks.
Mhm.
You might have someone lead an archer group, so they're gonna definitely backline, while you have someone who leads an army of sword-wielding mercs to go forward, and you want to say sick them on the axe users because of that advantage.
So basically,
And each character has like a unique ability or something.
exactly. So it's that, and something else came to my mind just now. Age of Empires, Fire Emblem Edition.
Age of Empires. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard of that series, but I mean, most of us have. But that used to be one of my favorite games growing up as a kid.
Oh, I've heard of Age of Empires.
Managing, trying to conquer different nations while building up your own kingdom, gathering resources from different areas.
Yeah, that's something that I was
at the
thinking
same
of
time,
too.
real-time battles occurring.
I was thinking of that too, but I was thinking more straight up just being
That
on the
kind
battlefield
of
itself.
gameplay style would definitely work well.
Yeah. I was thinking more of a straight up be an open terrain types like a plains or a forest, or maybe you could do a city raid where you take over the castle. Like the whole objective is to get your army to reach the castle and not lose your cut-in point, your entry point, or something like that. I don't know. I've not played an RTS like that in a long time. Like the only RTS I played, I mean Pikmin counts technically, but that's not what I was thinking of. I played like this Star Wars Star Wars Empire at War, which is just you build armies, and then you like send a space fleet to take the skies, and then you bring in a land fleet to just descend and try to take over. And all the you basically take landing points, and then you can like drop enough to like 10 units at once at max if the planet allows it, and then you got to destroy their armies, but also any of their like building facilities, like say a barracks or like a light weapons factory or something. You got to destroy everything to take over that place. Something like that could work maybe, but I would think it'd be more sensible if it's just beat the army, take their fortress or whatever. Like we have forts in Fire Emblem. I think it would make sense if it's like we have fortresses on this side, they've got fortresses over there, we gotta take them, or just wipe out the army, or just beat the commander. Stuff like that could work. But an RTS, I feel like, is something that they should do. But everybody says the fighting game.
Definitely.
Which...
another...
What?
Like, a fighting game is definitely something that would be really fun to, have. No doubt about that. But branching out into different stuff like RTS and maybe even action RPG.
What, like a Tales game, or like a new Final Fantasy style?
Yeah, something like that.
That'd be pretty good.
But keeping the core FE mechanics, of course. Yeah.
I would say they could ask Bamco for help.
It's about time.
But I don't trust Bamco with the Tales series anymore.
Let's not. I don't trust Bamco with anything. I mean, back when they were the ones who made Budokai Tenkaichi, right?
Yeah, they're making another one.
Or what?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, Sparking Zero. You didn't hear it?
I do not trust current Bamco, because have you seen the new JJK game, Jujutsu Kaisen? It looks god awful.
I'm hoping they'll get this right, because they've been on a good streak with Dragon Ball, so I'm hoping they get it right. I mean, they hit on fighters, and they hit on Kakarot, so fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm.
And they still churn out content for Xenoverse 2, if you can believe that. But yeah.
Even now?
Yeah, they still do. Like when the superhero movie came out, they added Beast Gohan, Mr. Beast, and Orange Piccolo. Or as I like to call him, Piccolo Naranja, because saying their form names in Spanish sounds cooler, because Beast Gohan is an acknowledgement that they know that Mexicans love Dragon Ball more than the Japanese do. It's true, look it up. We love Dragon Ball more than Japan does.
I know, I agree. I know, Dragon Ball's a culture over
there. No. Spanish-speaking people, whenever the end of Super was airing, the final parts of the Tournament of Power, they actually had huge watch parties where they were filling up whole arenas to watch those episodes in real time. So much so that that Toei actually asked the Japanese ambassadors in Mexico to basically kind of try and send a cease and desist, but you can't tell a crowd of people who are just watching it, like, imagine you're just watching an episode on a giant TV. You can't tell them to disperse, especially if it's somewhere that's not illegal.
No, you cannot.
But yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's true. Look it up. But yeah, I could definitely see them doing a fighter, but I feel like an RTS would make more sense, because it's what Fire Emblem's all about. Because you like build your army and take on impossible odds, but it's like it's not an army technically. You're literally just taking like 12 people to beat up an army of 30. Smart. So why not actually have like
12 juiced up
So why not deploy armies that actually have people with them, and you gotta deploy them perfectly, either alone to take on like a
it's basically battalions from three houses, but done better.
Something like that. You take fortresses and you can, maybe like heal up your army, like restore some numbers, like units that were lost or whatever, stuff like that. I think that could be cool. But yeah, all right. So I guess this means
there's another throwaway. Another throwaway wish of mine, very very short, is something set in a futuristic setting. I mean, you cannot always stay completely fantasy, right? With technically speaking, as humanity keeps on growing, so does technology. So you cannot always be in that fantasy setting. I'd also love to see something extremely futuristic, like far-flung future.
That'd be pretty good, but I don't know if they have the courage. It's because if you try that, you're taking a risk, because this is not the comfortable setting we're used to. So I will admit, I would like to see it, but I understand it's a risky move.
I'd love to.
Yeah. But anyway, I guess it's...
So yeah, time for your last wish.
My last wish is, it actually ties into what I mentioned before. I want because we're going to inevitably get an original game, because they could give us an original game now, actually, for the next Nintendo console, whatever that may be. But whatever they do, if they're going to introduce a My Unit character, my wish is that I don't want them to be vital to the plot. I don't want them to be a lord or a god in disguise, or you are the god like Alir, or you actually have god blood in your body like Robin and Byleth. I think someone like a Mark or a Chris are actually to me the ideal My Unit characters, because yes, they do have the Lord's favor of the game, so Marth or Lynn's favor, but they are not the big reason why things are happening. It's not because of them that Nurgle's doing bad things or whatever. They're just there for the ride, and they're helping. You can have them become a playable unit, and yes, they can be a good unit, because they're going to want your self-insert character to have good unit feel. That's just how it works. That's how it's always been, even with Chris. But you're just like some random Joe Schmo who just, by pure chance, met the Lord and like, hey, you're cool, join my army, we need all the help we can get to beat the evil guys, and you just become their friend, because that would at least explain how you get with them, because you've been friends with them since the war started. But I don't want that to be like, oh, hey, you have the blood of the god of this game. That means you're important. That also means you can undo time to undo bad mistakes, because they're gonna bring that back. That's too good of a mechanic to put away. I
have my own thoughts on the turn wheel thing with you.
Let's be real. They're never getting rid of My Units. Unless we're remaking an old game where they're not there, they're never going to get rid of them. They're too important, because people use them, and they are meant to be your self-insert so you can marry whoever you want. And people play it because of it, because sometimes I wonder if modern Fire Emblem is actually a dating sim. Which, speaking of, if you want to talk about romantic genres, why not just go full dating sim? Fuck it. I mean, I'm not going to play it probably.
Absolutely. But yeah, speaking of how Awakening got them out of the slump of dying series.
Yeah.
I don't blame them for being the same.
Yeah, because it worked. That's literally why it worked. They tried to emulate it with Fates, but people didn't like Fates because they spent more time on those mechanics than an actual good story. Well, they made 3 mid-tier ones instead of 1 good one. But yeah. Anyway, I just want a My Unit like a Chris, where they're not super relevant to the story itself. They just chime in, and that's it.
I honestly have a whole strong opinion of Fate's story. It has so much potential, all squandered for I don't know.
Everybody blames the writer because they said that they don't know, they never played a Fire Emblem game, but that's not true. That's not a bad thing, because you can have people who either aren't familiar with the franchise or they don't like the franchise, but can still make good things. Because I don't know if you've watched Star Wars, but the guys who made the show Andor, it's actually more of an adult Star Wars show, if you could believe that. The guy who made it, who wrote the script for season 1, honestly admits that he does not like Star Wars because he thinks some of it is annoying and the fans are annoying, and he's absolutely right, by the way. But he made such a good show that it stands on its own as a standalone show, but for the franchise, it also is worthy of being a part of the franchise and its legacy. And I'm just saying, like, good things can come from anybody, not because, oh, he doesn't know Fire Emblem, that's why it was bad. No, there was definitely a lot more parts than just the lead writer. I'm not trying to justify him, by the way, I'm not trying to defend him, but I'm just saying a good story can come from anyone. It doesn't have to be a fan of the franchise, because, I mean, if you're listening to us, even our ideas might not pan out if you actually try to put them into writing and developing. Which, I'm just being honest, like, as much as I want all my ideas and wishes to come true,
no, it's good to be here. It's good to be
very
grounded.
rarely does very rarely does an idea pitch go completely the whole way through without being changed. Everything gets revised. That's how productions work. But yeah, something went wrong with Fates, and it shows. And I know some people like it. If you like it, good for you. But yeah, one of my problems with Fates was Corrin was so fucking essential to the story that everyone kind of revolved around them, and I didn't like that. And Corrin, I mean, on their own, is, I felt, to be a weak lord. I get the idea they're trying to go for, a peace lover. They never knew violence, so they don't.
Yeah, they're going to go for a complete empathetic.
Yeah, but it's just the situation around them. To me, with like a good character, is like, I understand, I want peace, but you're gonna have to get involved. Doing nothing means you're just gonna see people die. But then again, there was also other characters who were bad. Like, I'm looking at you, Birthright Xander. Where's the Conquest Xander I know and love? Like, that Xander is a Chad, but Birthright one's a joke.
Character assassination.
Yeah, like they assassinate their own characters within these stories. That's why I'm saying you're better off making one good story instead of 3 mid-tier ones. The same can be said for Three Houses a little bit, but honestly, I don't think none of the stories are bad except for Silver Snow. That's the only one I think is mid, and ironically enough, that was their first story they wrote, and you could tell they got better as they wrote things along. But yeah, just please.
And I think the last story that they wrote was Crimson, right?
I think that was one of their later ones, but it wasn't the last one. Yeah, I don't know why it's so short either. I thought it was because it was first, but no, they admitted that Silver Snow was the first route they did. Oh well. But yeah, it sucks for Edelgard. But just please have my units that aren't gods is all I ask. I don't need them to be a big shot. Just let them be a normal person, because ultimately that's what we are. I know some people like that feeling, but we've done it for so long. I'm not asking this to be the permanent way from now on. You do whatever fits the story most. If it feels better for them to be a important enough character to the world, then sure, go for it. If it fits, work with it. But if you feel like they can be anywhere and it's fine, then by all means, make them a minor character, at least in the grand scheme of the story, but they matter to the main characters, and that's all that matters. Like, you're my friend. I don't see myself winning this war without you. Something like that. Like, that's how Marth viewed the Chris's, and that's why, like, when Chris... the cool thing about Chris is that they literally write themselves out of the story to explain why... they're not mentioned in any histories, because like, where did this Chris character come from when they made the DS version? But then when you beat the game, they're like, hey, are you sure you want me to not mention you to anybody?
Yep, not there.
I think that was pretty cool.
Yeah, they just want to literally stick the shadow.
Yeah, I think that's a really cool thing. Mind you, I don't need every character to do that, but yeah. I mean, especially if you can marry the main character, you can't exactly like, hey, write out your significant other from the stories books. Like, no one will let me do that, even if I wanted to. But yeah, I think that is the way it should be for a little while. Just give me a game or two.
Because we've had like what, 1, 2, 3, 4 games in a row where the MC is some sort of connected with either
they are connected to a deity
or has some godlike being.
Like, let's go over them all. Yeah. Mark, no connection whatsoever. They literally just fell from the sky or something, and Lynn finds them. And by the way, if we did get a Fire Emblem 7 remake, the one thing I want for that character to do is to actually be able to marry one of the characters that has a relationship that doesn't matter to the story. So you couldn't get with, obviously you can't get with someone like an Eliwood or a Hector, because they need to be with somebody, like they need to have a kid. But Who's ever heard of a mom that literally leaves to go on a journey? Like, hey, we just had Roy, but I gotta go walking around for whatever reason. Bye. No, but someone like Lynn, who obviously doesn't matter in 6, or someone else like like you can get with Florina, you can get with Will, or you can get with Urk, or no, the warrior. Yeah, funny thing enough, the warrior dudes, they're already married, because Dorcas has a wife and Bartray tries to kill his future wife, and they get together. I will destroy your bloodline, and then it just turns out to, and that's how you were born, Fur. But yeah, something like that's the only thing I would want with that one.
Bart is a
But anyway, Mark has no relevance to the story technically. Chris is just some other person in Marth's army that Marth considers a good friend. But other than that, they're just some random villager, and that's all. Awakening. Robin first seems to be like a normal tactician, but then you find out you are technically Grima, and you have to either let Crom kill Grima or you kill Grima so he actually stays dead. Corrin, the son or daughter of the God of Fates. You literally have to beat your father up in the true story, and your fake father in the other two. Byleth. I don't even want to get into the family tree of Byleth. So let's just say you are the, I don't want to say reincarnation. You have the actual crest of the original goddess in you. So yeah, you are a god. You are literally a god. You can control time at will with the divine pulse ability, and you can wield the sword of the creator. And most importantly, for some reason, every single student in your army wants to be with you. Please, Professor, I can't do anything without you. I can't win this war without you, which is true, by the way. None of these kids could ever win without Byleth or Shez, which tells me more about them than it says about Byleth. And finally, we have Alir, which I already mentioned. Admittedly, is a kind of like a meta commentary on how people view their my units, because since everybody's literally simming for them, why don't we actually make a game where they all do just that? Please define one.
As if they haven't already been.
Yeah, please define one. Let me wake you from your sleep in an ASMR style minigame.
That is so creepy.
That's
I'll
so
be honest.
Weird.
I tried that once. I'm like, okay. Like, oh, you can sleep in your bed to pass time. I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, there's some.
And then you hear Yunaka trying to sound like a rooster.
And then suddenly, I think it was Fram, and she whispered something like, I had to mute.
Oh God.
I had to mute my
system.
I had to mute my system because it was like completely out loud, and my parents were like, "What the fuck?"
I feel like it's louder with the minigame than it is in the actual like dialogue conversations. It's like, did they tell him to get closer to the mic? But you get my idea. Like, notice how only the first two had no relevance to the story overall. They just were part of it, but not the part of it. Everyone else either was from the start,
and that's why they're the boat.
Yeah, like they were from the start or will become a major player in the story where the bad cannot be beaten without them. So I just want a character that's just a normal person because it's the relatable cause, but who knows what they'll do. They'll probably make him another god because why the fuck not? It's worked every single time. We can complain, but we're gonna deal with it because we have no choice. But yeah, that's all I want. I just want a relatable my character that everybody talks to as an equal. Like, you're just some other person in the army, so like talking to another merc character, they'd be like, hey, how's it going? You doing okay with these battles? Stuff like that.
And before the next FP game is just that vampire rumor we heard years ago. That vampire FP game.
Because that's why, like, have you noticed how everybody talks to, like, with the exception of Robin and Chris and Mark, everyone talks like they're below you, except like the other nobles, or in this case, teachers, or whatever. Like, because like Corrin is a princess. Prince Byleth is a professor. So obviously, they're your students, so you're gonna talk like you are above them because you technically are. And then Alir's a god, the god. So everybody's like divine one, divine one, divine one. You see what I mean? Like, everybody talks to you like they're beneath you because they have to treat you with some amount of respect because of that authority. I much prefer if you're like on equal playing terms with all these other people.
Alir is just like, yeah, and Ali is just like, guys, I just want to exist. Please calm down.
like, the cool thing, I know it sounds like I'm gushing for Chris despite me not actually playing the game. I think it would be a very nice change of pace for me to be, like, talking to another noble and we have to address them as prince whatever, princess whatever, because, you know, we're below them in station, so we have to be respectful no matter what. But whereas we talk with another normal, like another soldier in the army, we just talk like we're friends or co-workers, basically. And I would like that. I would find that to be more refreshing than Divine One, Princess Corrin, Professor. Hell, even Robin gets talked to like he's an equal a little bit to everybody. Maybe not with... Well, Chrom and Robin always see each other as equals, and sometimes lovers, depending on what you do. But everybody else talks to them like they're just another person in the army to an extent. Obviously, they know, like, you know, they're the tactician. They're second in command, practically, but... Yeah, I want something like that. I think Robin was kind of close to being that middle ground, but, you know, then they say, oh, hey, you're Grima. But I think that's all I want to say on that. Do you have anything else you want to note on this point, or, yeah, are we ready to close this out?
I think we're ready to close this out. I resonate with whatever you just said.
Yeah. All right.
And of course.
Yeah, okay. All right, this was like, this was a while. Damn, a lot longer than I thought, but that's fun for some people. I'll have everything bulleted out, obviously. Anything else you want to talk about, like, say, what you're interested in, or if you have any plans for your account or whatever?
Currently, nothing at the moment because I'm swamped with work in real life. Yeah. But I do plan on, like, getting back into graphic designing soon enough. So
that's good.
I guess look forward to that.
That's good. Yeah, Coffee, I can attest to Coffee's quality for his stuff, for like his, you made my icon, obviously, you made my Yakuza thumbnail for my review, and, what was it called? You also used, before you got busy, you also used to make like these wallpapers with the new characters when they got added to Fae. Those are really good.
Yeah, yeah.
But you still do post content on like the Fire Emblem teams, at least. I remember seeing one last week.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that's also good. Before we go, I know you mentioned it on like when we were like planning this out yesterday. Did you want to mention your top 3 Fire Emblem games?
Sure, absolutely. So first one being New Mystery of the Emblem. Quite surprising. I mean, I wonder why. Second is actually Genealogy of the Holy War. I love the story so much. And I honestly don't mind the gameplay. I kind of find it really good. And third, shockingly, is Engage.
Wow.
Recency bias and whatnot, but I'm having fun playing it.
I actually still need to finish it. I finally married Gold Mary. The cool thing about Engage, by the way, a little shout out to this. I'm definitely putting this in my review for it. You have to work for the right to marry somebody, and you know what? People who are like, I don't want to play Fire Emblem, it's too hard. If you're down bad for a character, I bet you worked hard for that. Because that chapter is actually, I hear that chapter is actually harder than most of the story maps. Because it's a two-pronged thing. It's not just save the ring. Once you get the ring, you have to survive the reinforcements. So like, it goes from stop the enemy.
I haven't still gotten that yet.
I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the ring, and then I gave it to Gold Mary.
Yeah, because I'm planning to. I think I'm planning to give the ring to Jade when I get it. So yeah.
To who? Jade. That's a underrated choice. I can respect that. Yeah, it was either for me. It was either her, Ivy, or Chloe. I was torn on them. I already decided if I do a rerun with female earlier, I'm going with Yunaka.
Yeah, so it's like the thing with Chloe, I had her in mind, but then I saw her support with Merin. And I'm like, those two have to be together.
Yeah, they don't have any other paired endings. It's just you. Yeah,
really?
It's just you. You can't have paired endings with other characters. So, yeah, sorry, it won't happen. Crazy, huh?
Damn, now I might have to remove Engage from my top.
Wow. You see, Coffee, what did I tell you? Part of the reason people play these games now is for the dating sim aspect, either for themselves or for these other characters. So that's never, and that's never going
I was
away.
kidding.
That's never going away unless we remake an old game where that was never a thing, like Fire Emblem 6. You're going to have to get used to it. Anyway, my favorite 3 games are, these are very basic, I know. Fire Emblem 7, it was my first ever, and it's got Canas and it's got Lyn. Canas is the king. I will stand by that until the day I die. Fire Emblem Awakening, I've sunk in so many hours. I think I've sunk in at least 800 to 900 hours into this game. That was, mind you, I can never guess because I lost my original copy when my original 3DS got stolen. I had to actually buy a new one and do which I had my Lunatic file where I played a Lunatic run in a month so I can get a free commission of my Robin with Tiki. It was, I want to say it was worth it, but that was one of the toughest battles I've ever had, where I literally had to let Lucina die on the final turns because she actually did enough damage to let Morgan finish the job. Morgan and Tiki carried my dog ass. I was a fucking fraud, even with all my skills. Like, I can't do anything, guys. I can't do nothing to Grima. It's on you two. And then my third one. This is tough.
That setup exists. So.
This is tough. I'm gonna say Path of Radiance, but I feel like Holy War will intrude on that right because Path of Radiance, Ike's first game. I like its story. The Black Knight is the goated villain, and it has Mia.
Yeah.
Oh, and Nephany. But Black Knight is just...
Enough, yeah. I honestly really like Path of Radiance as well. It's if we were to keep like a top 5,
it's got a great story. And Ike does not like racism. I would say he is the one who defeated racism, but nah, that's Claude. Claude defeated racism. But anyway, we'll leave this here at that. I would say subscribe to Coffee's channel, but I do not know if you actually have a YouTube that you use, so I will say follow him on Twitter.
I mean, I do have a YouTube. Feel free to subscribe if you want to. Maybe I'll return someday.
I mean, I'm surprised you don't upload your the Pala videos on there. Yeah, that's fair.
I'm just too much of a perfectionist.
Yeah, I'll have his Twitter as well as your Blue Sky as well, because you know Twitter's getting worse and worse as well. Just like Faye, they can share that common L together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so follow Coffee on his Twitter and all that. Obviously, if you aren't subscribed to me, maybe you'll consider it. I also stream on Twitch. Well, I need to get my internet fixed at the moment. It should be good by the new year. Also follow me on Twitter if you haven't already, although I don't upload from my Levin Lightsaber account. That's only just to upload or tweet out official irrelevant things like review is done or whatever. Feel free to follow and ring the bell. I do post community updates to let people know the status of my video projects and all that. But thank you for being here, Coffee. It was great to have you. It was a good talk.
Anytime.
Yes. So anyway, question of the day for people in the comments: what do you want? What's your wish list? What do you have that you want to see done? Like, could it be something similar to ours or something else? By all means, go ahead and post it in the comments as well as your thoughts and all of our wishes if you wish. Yeah, thanks for everybody for watching, and thank you, Coffee, for being here. I will see you guys in another video.